Hello, ladies. I have been super excited to have this conversation with you today on the show. We're talking about a silent revenue killer. My husband would be in hysterical laughter if he knew that I was recording this for you, because he always laughs at me for loving all the crime shows. Like, I really love all the murder, all the killing shows. Like, I love the what is it, the 24 hours, where it's like 24 hours from the murder and the police have got to figure it out. I love it. But that is not the sort of killer that we're talking about today. We're not talking about real killers. We're talking about the revenue killer that is keeping you broke. We're talking about the reason that you are not selling at the level that you want to sell at. The reason that your DMs are maybe more empty than you would like them to be. Why leads and inquiries are not flowing through as readily as you would like them to flow. This silent revenue killer, once I talk to you about it today, you'll be able to figure out whether or not you have this silent revenue killer holding you back in your business. And you will also know what to do to stop it. Yeah, what to do to remove it out of the way so that you can achieve the income, the impact, the business growth that you want. Okay. So how do I know that this silent revenue killer even exists? Well, I've seen it quite a lot recently in some of the group programs that I'm running. So I'm running the the Get Clients Accelerator. I'm running the Infinite Abundance Collective, and I have seen it in both of those groups in conversations that I've been having with the girls around their offers, around their niche, around their messaging, around the way that they show up, their authority, their credibility. And very often when women come to work with me, they will have some questions about their offer. So they're not really clear on what the offer is, who it's for, how to message it. There's often some questions around the pricing, the packaging, the positioning, that sort of stuff. And so I built my 7-step growth system to help systematically work through some of those challenges. And what I see with this revenue killer is that even when I've helped women to work through all the challenges, all the blocks, all the questions that they have, they still don't show up and sell. So this silent revenue killer, I'm going to give it a name, and its name is sales resistance. So you will know that this revenue killer is in your business if you feel a real hesitance, a real resistance to showing up and selling your offer, even when all of the doubts and all the concerns and all the decisions that need to be made have been made. So for example, there's one lady who I'm supporting at the moment, and she won't mind me sharing this. We've talked very openly about this. I've helped her to create 3 or 4 different offers. And each of those offers has been for a different niche, a different audience, a different type of person. It's been to solve different problems and deliver different transformations. So all very different offers. And once she gets to a stage, and she's reached this stage multiple times, where all the boxes are ticked. There's no more excuses. There's no more reasons why she shouldn't show up and sell. She's named the offer. She's priced it. She knows what the problem that she's solving is. She knows exactly who she wants to enroll into the program. She's got everything figured out. We've systematically worked through it using my 7-step formula. She's got it all nailed. And she should be, at that point, very excited to show up and invite customers to buy. But yet she doesn't. She does what I see hundreds of women do. She goes back to doubt and indecision. Maybe the niche is wrong. Maybe the audience is wrong. Maybe I should do more calls, less calls. Maybe I need a better curriculum. And this is what I see in so many women's businesses, where all of the reasons why you haven't been selling have been ticked. All the boxes are ticked. You're ready to sell, and you still don't want to sell. Now, why is it that you would keep yourself in that eternal loop? Well, it's easy to figure that out. It's because of safety. It's because you like the comfort. It's far easier to sit planning an offer than it is to show up and sell the offer. Because to sell it, you risk Auntie Sheila and Jane from school having a little laugh and joke at you. You risk people side-eyeing you and going, look at her showing up like an influencer. Who does she think she is, charging $5,000 for her time? Yeah, you are afraid of being called out, of being judged, of being mocked. Yeah, and so it's easier to just not sell it. But then you can't say, well, I'm bad at sales, like sales doesn't work for me. Well, because you never tried. And you don't know what you could achieve if you weren't actually out there trying. So if you know that this silent revenue killer is present in your business, you will know it because you'll feel it in your tummy, probably. You might even feel it in your throat. There'll be like a resistance to you hitting the go live button or showing up in your stories. There'll be a moment where you're like, right, I'm gonna invite people to work with me, and then you're like frozen to the spot because you don't actually want to do it. And that is when you will know that this sales resistance is present in your business. Now, if you notice this, what should you do? Yeah, that's the obvious question. What should you do to get rid of sales resistance? Well, I don't think you're going to like my answer, but I'm going to give it to you anyway. What you need to do to remove the sales resistance is, first of all, get rid of all the doubt and indecision. Yeah, tick off all the boxes, get clear on the offer, get clear on your authority, clear on the problem, clear on the positioning, clear on the transformation, really, really clear, potent messaging, build the excitement, build the hype in you that you really want to sell it. And if then you still have that feeling of resistance, what you need to do is just push through. Yeah, you just need to do it, because with practice comes safety. With practice comes, like rehearsing. I mean, literally just going through the process of showing up and selling it. That is the only way to build confidence. Yeah, like those of you that have been in my world for a long time, you will know my little saying, confidence needs evidence. You cannot build confidence at doing anything without first giving yourself the evidence that the doing of it keeps you safe. Yeah, because our brains are wired up to keep us safe. They're wired up for protection. And you don't want to do anything that feels unsafe. Therefore, that little protection mechanism kicks in and stops you from falling over the edge of the cliff. Yeah. And so not selling your offer is you stopping yourself from falling over the edge of the cliff. The only way to do it is to actually jump off the cliff and know that you have a parachute, because your parachute is you, your credibility, your knowledge, your certainty, your leadership. You are your own safety net. It's just that you've got to remind yourself that you are. And so what that might look like for you is getting into a high vibration every morning before you start your work for the day, dance around the kitchen. I got my ladies the other day to write a list of 20 awesome things about them. And honestly, their messages made me cry because they were writing these lists of 20 amazing, incredible things. We're talking about women that are absolute powerhouses, but just don't realize it until somebody like me comes along and mentors and coaches them and helps them to unlock that authority and that confidence. So if you know that you have this silent revenue killer, this sales resistance going on for you, what I want you to do is be brave, be bold, maybe write your list of 20 awesome things about you. Maybe get into high frequency, high vibration in the morning, dance around to your favorite Beyonce, whatever it is. Get some power going through your body and show up and invite the offer. And guess what's going to happen? People are going to buy your offer. When you show up and sell your offer with full conviction, full confidence, full determination, and people start reacting, responding, replying, reaching out to you and saying, can you tell me a little bit more about that? That sounds like exactly what I need. That will give your confidence the evidence that it needs to expand, to elevate, to rise, to get bigger. Okay? So you've got to push through this sales resistance, because the reality is, right, and this might sound harsh, but it is true. If you don't master selling in your business, you won't have a business, because a business is not made up of just people doing admin. A business has to make money. A business has to make sales. You need customers. And so if you have sales resistance going on, you've got to push through it, because it's the same as Sainsbury's not having food on the shelves. Yeah, you're actually being selfish, holding your audience away from the solution that they desire, the solution that you give them, that your offer is designed to support them with. It's the same as you having toothache and phoning the dentist and them saying, sorry, we're closed today. And you'd be like, but you can help me. I need you. And they're like, yeah, sorry, we're closed. Yeah, you cannot stop your audience from getting to the solution that they need, which is you and your offer. You've got to show up and sell, because if you don't, you won't have a business. And the more that you do it, the more you push through, and you realize that Auntie Sheila and Jane from school, they don't mock you, they don't judge you. And if they do, block them, right? Block them, because they'll be laughing on the other side of their face when you've built a successful business, when they're toddling off to their 9 to 5 and you've got the freedom to choose. They will be laughing on the other side of their face until they then sidle up beside you and ask you how you did it. Yeah? So don't worry about anybody else. Worry only about you. Worry only about the freedom and the choice that you want to build, and push through that sales resistance. Literally kick the door down. Make sure that you feel safe enough to show up and sell. And I guarantee you, you will be amazed by the people that reach out to work with you. Okay. I hope you found this episode helpful. I was super excited to share this because I know so many of you get stuck. You tick off all the boxes of excuses. Yeah, you solve all the excuses and then you still don't want to sell and you can't figure out why. And you end up in this eternal loop. So I was very excited to bring you this episode. I really hope it helps. Please do subscribe to the show, subscribe on YouTube, subscribe on Spotify, Apple, share it with all of your business besties who need to improve the sales, the results, the cash flow in their business. Thank you so much for being here. I will see you next week for another episode of Becoming an Online Sales Queen.